Welcome to Splorin with us with Ed and Cheryl. This week, or rather last week, since we've taken so long to record, we went literally everywhere across the state of Georgia.
Cheryl started the week at a conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and then
we came back to Augusta, where we took a crash course in everything there is to know about Augusta.
Then we headed to the coast for a long-delayed concert and an awards ceremony.
So there is a lot to talk about. Let's get started.
Did you do anything fun in Atlanta?
Well, it was a work conference, but it was literally everyone from our leadership team, and we all were there having meetings with our peers from across the state. And then we had big group meetings, but we went out one night to dinner all together at a place called Industry Tavern, which was just across the street from the hotel where we were staying in Buckhead. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun, but a lot of people were there, kind of loud, but the food was great. What did I have? I don't remember what I had.
What you had, but
salmon. Of course, I had salmon. It was so good. And then on the second night of the conference, they had brought in this activity, which was absolutely the best conference event I've ever attended. Because a lot of times, a lot of conferences I go to, they have like a inspirational speaker. And I've heard some great ones. Like we did a thing with Kid President at one conference I was at. Last year or the year before, I was at one with Marlee Matlin. And so I've heard some great inspirational speakers. But this time it was called, I think it just was called The Big Game. And it was this guy who was wearing like a red jacket, like a suit jacket. And it was game shows. So he would made these games up based on, like, there was something that was like Jeopardy. There was something that was like Family Feud. And so he was calling up people out of the nominees that we had, because there was an award for the top student in the system and the award for the top teacher in the system. And each of the colleges had sent someone for those. So they were the ones that were brought up to entertain us. And it was just so much fun. And there was some, like, the whole audience stood up. We had to turn this way or that way, depending on which we thought was the right trivia answer. And at one point they asked a question about the Masters tournament, which of course, as you know, is in Augusta, as we've said before on the show. And the people from Augusta Technical College who were still standing all turned towards the Jack Nicklaus side. And the announcer said that the answer was Tiger Woods. And so we were shocked. And so, but we didn't protest, but somebody else in the room protested it. And turns out we were right. The guy was wrong.
The giving it was...
We got reinstated back into the competition. We didn't win, though. We didn't win. I don't remember what the prizes were, like gift cards and things. And one of the great things about this conference, though, is the student that wins the top prize, not in the game show, but in the actual best student competition, gets a car from Kia. So that's pretty cool. So that was a lot of fun. But then I had to leave before the thing was over, so I didn't get to see the students get the award on the third night, because I came back to Augusta and we joined the Leadership Augusta Executive Forum, which had, 10 new leaders in Augusta. And spouses or partners, guests. Right. So Ed came along with me, and
I was honored to come along.
Oh my gosh. It was
such an awesome.
Well, I mean, probably there may be in your area a leadership, whatever the name of your town or your county or what is. And usually it's like 10 months, and you go one day a month for that 10 months. We did all that programming in
4 days.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I counted that wrong. That's
Wednesday, Thursday,
I'm
Friday,
counting on my fingers, and
Saturday.
I counted it wrong. For those of you who aren't watching the video, I held up 5 fingers. 4 days. Math. I'm not a mathematician. So we started out Wednesday night. Wednesday night was business cocktail attire.
Yes.
So we got Ed into a suit, which doesn't happen very often.
That doesn't happen very often. So when you can get photos of it, that's a rare
thing. If you can see the photos on the video, if you're watching on the video, Ed in a suit, put that on your bingo cards for the year. And then we went to the Miller Theater, which is a restored old movie house.
Oh, wonderful place.
And so they have the Augusta Symphony Orchestra is based there, and then they bring in performers. So some of the photos, if you're watching on the video, you can see where people who've performed there have signed the walls in the backstage area. And we had a dinner there, which was nice. And there was a violinist, and we got a little bit of history, and got to see the mayor of Augusta, Mayor Johnson. And hit him up.
Ironically, though,
the mayor in Savannah is a different Mayor Johnson. So, no relation.
Yeah.
But we got to chat with him.
Wasn't
one-on-one.
expecting to chat with the mayor that night.
No, because he came out onto the street while we were standing
there. He spoke at the dinner
there.
we had, reception, and it was really nice and it's fantastic.
Exactly. And then we came back Thursday, and Thursday we met at a country club. What was the name of that country club? It's the oldest, because we have the Masters, which is the Augusta National Golf, but the Augusta Country Club is actually older than that one. So we were there, and it was really nice. We spent the whole day there, and so that day programming was coming to us.
Right. We had someone talk about the history of Augusta.
The Downtown Development Authority.
Yeah.
The president of the Augusta University, which also is the medical school and the dental school, or medical college and dental college for the state of Georgia are there. We had the district attorney came and talked about some of the innovative things that they're doing to try to prevent crime. At first, so when he first said...
He had a lot of fascinating things to say.
When he first said, can we prevent crime? What did you think?
I would like to think, yes.
No, I thought you thought about that Tom Cruise movie about precognition.
I did. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I did. Minority Report, where where they use the technology and they use what they call the precogs. If you've not seen it,
predict crime and prevent it.
You try to stop crime before it happens. This is a Spielberg film, which is one of my favorite Spielberg films, one of my favorite Tom Cruise films, because I like science fiction a lot. But yeah, they try to prevent crime, and I thought that's where he was going. That's
I know, and like Ed thinks there's going to be all this futuristic stuff, but no, they're just looking at the data. And so like he told a story which was incredibly moving about as an attorney, I think he'd prosecuted a man, and then that day when this man was convicted, he would go to schools and read books with children to try to encourage literacy, and he met a boy who was the son of the man who had just been convicted, and then years later, comes full circle, that kid is in the courtroom being prosecuted. So, so one of the things we're looking at, how do we intervene when children are young?
Yeah, he talked about the circle of violence and we're trying to stop it.
The circle of poverty. All of that was like a recurring theme.
But very fascinating. I mean, so that we were talking in this whole conference over these 4 days. Some very heavy topics that affect.
Some were fun, but a lot of it was heavy. The first day was funner.
It was more fun.
Funner. Then the second day was really intense. Because the second day we went, and that night we went with a small group to a restaurant called Abel Brown, which a lot of people had recommended to me. Very nice restaurant. A little pricey, but great service. We had a great conversation.
Fantastic service there.
What did I eat? Salmon.
Yeah,
I did.
I forgot what I had.
I ate salmon. I don't remember what you had either.
We did.
You had a beet salad. I remember that.
I love that beet salad.
Did you have shrimp something?
Something with shrimp.
Shrimp and grits.
Shrimp and grits. Yes.
Shrimp and grits.
Of course.
And then we had something for dessert, which was really yummy.
You can never go wrong with shrimp and grits.
Well,
especially if you're from the South.
You can do it badly, but they did it well. They did it poorly, but they did it well.
They did it very well.
And then Friday we came back, and that morning we met at what's called the Cyber Center here in Augusta. Right. And so that is a combination of the federal government, the local Army post, the university, Augusta University, I already mentioned.
Fort Gordon, that's soon going to be Fort
Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Augusta Technical College, where I work, and then private industry are all in that center together, working on cyber. And so we heard about the cyber industry. We had some folks come and talk to us about defense contracting, and then
they talked about AI and other things that were interesting, very interesting, and kind of forward-thinking ideas and how
and
we
what's
navigate
next
the space of cyber.
And then my boss, the president of Augusta Technical College, came and he talked to us about education across the whole region. So the K-12 system, as well as really more about the K-12 than talking much about college, and then also about workforce development, which is our mission. And so there were some pretty startling numbers that we saw in terms of
And not just in Richmond County here in Augusta, but other counties
across the region,
or in this,
where we
the
could see and
CSRA.
compare how much, prepare for work or prepared for college, third grade reading levels, all these things that have
much-
opportunities for
How much money, statistics on how much money is
Support.
put towards education, how much, and later on we talked about, very fascinating, we ended with a gentleman.
right with
talking-
from the medical industry. That was after we had walked across the street to the Chamber of
I'm
Commerce.
getting ahead of myself, but
Well, I mean, and we had lunch,
It was all-
which I don't know what y'all ate. Y'all had sandwiches. I had a salad. I don't remember.
I had a
Anyway,
sandwich. It was like a wrap
it was
or
good.
something. It was very good.
It was very good.
Food was always
I
good.
couldn't eat it all so much. And then there we had the chair of our local state legislative delegation come and talk to us. And
Yes.
he really let us ask whatever we wanted to. And somehow we ended up focusing on home ownership and affordable homes. And that went off into a whole discussion. So I think we may end up as a group coming back and trying to
Right.
talk some more about that issue in particular. Then, as you said, the doctor, well, he actually wasn't a doctor.
He was
But he ran a hospital system, recently retired, and was talking to us about
pre-COVID, and then
and post-COVID
COVID.
how that
and how that affected that
healthcare. And I asked
Healthcare.
a saucy question about if healthcare is so expensive, are Americans living longer? Which, compared to
we
other,
are, but
we're not living longer than Europeans.
there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and then we also had a presentation about this alliance that supports Fort Gordon, which Fort Gordon has mostly, I think it's known for its cyber command center. We live very close to it.
yeah.
It's a rather large installation, and it had been under threat a few years ago or a couple decades ago to be shut down. So that's why this alliance was created, to support it. And support the families that are there and keep it here in Augusta. But now it's just gone through, and it's one of, I think, 9 or so Army posts that are about to be renamed because Fort Gordon and these others were named for Confederate officers or soldiers. And so all of those are being changed. So the local communities got to decide what they wanted the name to be.
was,
and
yeah.
here, there was a history with President Eisenhower.
Right.
Because he used to come down and play golf at the Augusta National. And so the community chose President Eisenhower, who, of course, was also Army General and commander of the European theater during World War II. So on his birthday, which is sometime in the fall, I can't remember when the date is, that's when they're going to do all the celebrations around changing it to Fort Eisenhower.
I only remember birthdays when Facebook reminds me.
You remember your birthday,
I do remember
but you
mine.
misremember my birthday.
I know your birthday.
You don't know what year I was born.
I do.
I'm not going to challenge that right now.
It took some training, but I figured it out.
I shouldn't complain because I also can't remember how old I am. So I guess that's
It's
the
like
same
phone
thing.
numbers, It's like, who knows anybody's phone number anymore?
Well, definitely nobody knows a phone number now.
it's in your phone,
Nobody
yeah.
dials a phone number.
Nobody dials a phone number.
And then after all that heavy conversation, thankfully
Yeah.
we had a cocktail party in the Miller Museum of Art, which is in the same building upstairs at the Chamber of Commerce. And
And that's
wow, so much art. Like
Savannah River Esplanade. I cannot say that. Esplanade.
Esplanade, Savannah
River Esplanade.
Oh, they're at the Chamber of Commerce? What are you talking about?
Where we walked.
Yeah,
The river-
outside.
river walk, what we
yeah,
call
it's
river-
right faces over the river on.
It's called
so it's
River
up on the
Walk.
levee.
Yeah.
On the side of the levee there. So
Yeah.
when you come out of the museum, you're on the second level of the building, but that's even with the top of the levee. And so there's a beautiful Augusta River walk there.
Yes.
That you can do, and it is the Savannah River, which is confusing for people who come from Savannah.
Yeah. Just, I went up the river.
But this the gentleman, the director of the museum, came out and was speaking to us, and he was talking about how large their art collection, which focuses mainly on Southern artists and Georgia artists, is. And he said they had 12 galleries, and we're standing in this lobby going, "This isn't that big."
Yeah.
So Ed and I took off walking through, and I mean, there were so many. I mean, I guess 12 is the right number because they were all interconnected and amazing different kinds of art there.
I'm not sure if they said that
hours.
they were going to another location.
They're looking at moving to another location, so that will be interesting to see their new location and then what
I
comes
liked
in
it.
here.
It was very cozy.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was a well done exhibition.
Too much to see in a quick trip. Like
Yeah.
we're literally like running
And
through.
we don't have any pictures because you're not allowed to take any pictures.
But they
there,
did have
obviously.
artwork there. We promise.
They had beautiful
We promise.
artwork. It's if you get a chance, it's worth
And a really nice gift shop
Going
too.
through there.
You didn't go in the gift shop.
I did go in the gift shop. Yeah, I popped in there.
did
and
you?
just looked around for a bit.
And then we went out and
That's
walked
some good
along the
stuff.
river before we went home and passed out.
Yeah, because we were so tired.
So that we could come back on Saturday.
Right.
And Saturday, for those of you who have followed
casual.
us from the beginning,
Yeah.
well, maybe it wasn't our first episode. One of our early episodes, we went to the Augusta Canal.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started Saturday at the Augusta Canal.
Right.
And this time, unlike last time, we actually got to ride the canal boat
Yeah.
with Captain Bobby.
One of our earlier episodes, and I can't remember which one it is, but that was one of our earlier episodes. You can check on that and see.
Went
if
to
you
the
want.
canal but couldn't ride the boat.
So on this episode of Splorin with us with Ed and Cheryl, we have in the video we have some more pictures, actual pictures of the cruise.
Right.
Not cruise.
Well, the canal was an
would you
industrial
call it?
canal. It was a cruise.
Okay.
Boat ride. I don't
Boat
know.
ride, I guess.
Boat ride.
I said boat ride.
So it was built to bring water in as hydropower for the industrial mills there back in the 19th century. So, textile mills, cotton processing, and then they would float on down the river. So
Without that canal, there might have not been an Augusta, as our tour guide was telling us, and there might have not been.
right, it might not have survived even pre-Civil War.
Right.
So that canal brought a lot of industry and jobs to the area both before and after the Civil War. So, but here is what's really interesting, and this is why previously we had challenged you to go to a national park, because when we were there before, since we didn't do the boat ride, we didn't see all of this national preserve that is there.
Yeah.
So much wildlife. We definitely saw a lot of turtles.
Yeah.
They talked about an alligator that had gotten up on the highway and blocked the road at one point.
And they had to.
Told a little joke. Do you remember the joke?
I don't remember the joke.
She said the alligator was male. Do you know how we knew it was male? It didn't ask for directions.
Wah, 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 wah.
But it's really beautiful. And so all along, it was a beautiful morning when we were there. And you could see that there were people walking on the trails along the
Right.
river, biking, families pushing children in strollers. So it was really nice. And there are just a few homes along there.
I can't remember the gentleman's
modest
name,
homes.
but there's a white bridge that has like eagle on it and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
Archibald Butt.
Butt, yeah.
So they told the story of the Butt Bridge because Mr. Butt had been involved in, I can't remember, was it in the Revolutionary War? And so he was.
Did we not listen to our history?
We got a lot thrown at us at once.
Yeah.
And so, no, it hadn't been the Revolutionary
No,
War
it
because
wasn't.
he was on the Titanic.
Yes.
And he behaved nobly on the Titanic. And so Augusta named this bridge, which is a really beautiful bridge, after him. But then they needed to move the highway or something years later, fairly recently.
Right. Very
And so there was a whole
here.
campaign.
It started or assisted by James Cameron, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Because of the tie to the Titanic.
Because of the historical link or whatever to the Titanic, they actually saved that bridge.
They worked with the community to help save the bridge, and they all had buttons or T-shirts. They sold bumper stickers.
And it said "Save our butt."
Save our butt.
So, that's clever.
So we're very proud, and it really is it's a pretty bridge. And so the main road now runs in another direction instead of, you can still drive over that bridge, but that's not a primary traffic
I love
route.
architecture, so I love the architecture of it and the little. I guess would you call it a lock or what did we go through?
Yeah, there are locks.
Yeah, and it was like real tight where you had to go
Yeah,
through.
well, Captain Bobby had to like squeeze us through this little tiny hole. But he did it
we got there.
on the way out and the way back.
Way back and
then after we got
was
back
nice.
to dock, then we drove across town to Second City Brewers.
yeah.
And that is right next to where they have this Saturday market. So
Yeah, like
what is
first Saturday. in
No,
Augusta.
every Saturday. I think it's every Saturday, April through October. And so
I thought
they
it was
had
first Saturday.
all the
Let us
vendors
know in the
out there.
comments if you're from Augusta or wherever, and you know
We'll
better than I
find
do.
out when we go back
Is it
next week.
first?
No, they told us they would be there this week.
Okay, well, we'll go again this week.
Definitely.
But I think it's first Saturday.
Food.
Maybe they're there
Stuff to
every
buy.
Saturday, but first Saturday is really big because it was very busy.
We were there on the last Saturday.
I know, but the last Saturday is technically maybe the first Saturday. I don't know how they look.
The last Saturday is
This will be the
technically the
first
first Saturday.
You got to follow my Ed logic on
Talk
that.
amongst yourselves, y'all.
I don't know.
Hashtag life with Ed C.
Yep.
So we got to tour the brewery where they make Dirty Girl, what is that, vodka?
Yeah,
And they also
had
make
some-
bourbon, and they do some canned things. Then they had some, what was that, cow coffee bourbon that you got?
Yeah.
They gave everybody a free bottle of that.
I should run in the other room.
Which
and
they
grab
normally
it,
don't
but-
do. Don't go on the tour and expect a free bottle.
Yeah.
This was a special thing because they were fine, but they weren't sealed exactly the way they wanted them, so they
Right,
gave
so-
them to us. And then
But
we had
they
some
showed us the
lunch.
tour of how they make the alcohol.
And we were
stuff.
walking through. People were walking
Yeah.
through because we had cocktails at their bar
Yeah.
beforehand, and it took a long time for all of us to get our cocktails.
Yeah, and,
And a couple of us went back for a second before the rest of us were.
Of
getting
all
our
the
first.
information from this weekend, I mean, the serious issues that plague, this area, our city, whatever, and to some of the more lighthearted and fun stuff, it was as much as fun and informative as all that was, being around a bunch of new people and meeting them and socializing with them and making connections with.
Right, and so on Saturday was a more casual atmosphere than the days before,
Yeah.
so that was nice. But then we were
thoroughly
hopping in the
enjoyable.
car to drive straight to Savannah.
Right.
But as we were going out in the festival, there was a booth with Filipino food, and my family loves Filipino food because we have some members of our family who are from the Philippines. And we don't live anywhere near them, so we don't get the food. So
we got to pick
grabbed
up.
the food and brought that to Savannah for my family.
Do you remember what you picked up?
Yeah, lumpia and pancetta
Okay. And,
for my mother, my sister, and me. And so we drove that all the way across the state. And I had dinner at my family's house while Ed went to, what was that band? I've never heard of
Humphreys
them.
McGee, my friend Scott. It's his favorite group, and first time I have seen them in concert, and it was a fantastic concert. It went from roughly 8:30ish to about almost midnight, and fantastic light show. It was in
Yeah, we definitely have some pictures of the lights.
Savannah has a
and the
new
slides.
in-market arena, but they still have the Johnny Mercer Civic Center.
Civic Center, yeah.
And
Was it in the Johnny Mercer Theater or was it in the Martin Luther King?
It was not in the Martin Luther King Arena. It
was in the Johnny Mercer Theater.
It was in the Johnny Mercer Theater. And the light show.
Cousin Johnny Mercer.
Yeah, I'm related. Anyway, it was a fantastic light show. We were actually up in the balcony.
Yeah.
And
it's a good balcony there.
and last time I was in that balcony, it was a little ways.
When you went to see Teresa Caputo with my mother.
I saw us coming to Savannah again. I didn't know she was still
Teresa,
around.
what is it? She's the
Long Island
Long
medium.
Island medium.
But
That's another story.
But so that's another story. But it was a really fun concert. It was like their 25th anniversary of the group, and you'll see in the video, you'll see some pictures I got of the concert. We were way up in the balcony there, and it was a pretty packed show, a very energetic crowd. I'll admit, I don't know a lot of their music or much of their music, and they're also like a jam band.
Music.
But I love music, and I love the concert, and I was fortunate that Scott invited me to go.
They've been delayed because of a hurricane, right?
Literally like a year ago. I think it was maybe October when we were in Savannah. It was
6
supposed
months
to come.
ago?
No, last year. A year ago.
But October was 6 months ago.
A year ago. In October.
It was a different year, but it wasn't a year ago.
It was like a year ago. Anyway, it was like a year ago. Let's just go with a year ago.
4.
4. How many fingers?
Too many.
So, yeah, they had delayed it because there was a hurricane that was going to hit Savannah, and it didn't, of course, and it was into their tour, so they didn't get to come to Savannah. But for like 20-something years, they wanted to come to Savannah and never actually got the opportunity, and so it was really nice. And one of my friend Scott's favorite songs they actually played, and he told me during the concert, he's like, "It's because you came, they played it for you, man." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And no, I don't remember the name of the song right now. But
so that was a late night.
That was a late night, so I was,
So we slept in Sunday, but then we tried to. We went to one of your favorite restaurants, Cheddar's. What's it called? Cheddar's something kitchen, Scratch Kitchen, Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen, which there's one of those in Augusta as well. But we had a
guilty
nice
pleasure
lunch.
is the Monte Cristo.
Yes. So, but we tried to sneak in a viewing of Return of the
Jedi's
Jedi.
40th anniversary. It was playing while we were in Savannah. It was
So
playing.
you'll see a picture of Ed with the poster.
Yeah, you'll see a picture of me with a poster. It was extremely windy day. Like this whole week has been windy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the weather,
windy.
but it's just been windy. It was like super, super windy in Savannah. So anyway, we did not get
They
to
were
see
sold
it.
out for the time that we were able to go.
And we had to get back to town, so it just didn't work out with the schedule.
Well,
here.
I mean, it was on the outskirts of Savannah.
Yeah.
Town called Pooler.
But it would have made it it was still a great weekend, but I would have made it even more perfect.
Because then we needed to get back to see his sister. So we went to Mass.
Yes.
At the Basilica Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Savannah.
Yes.
And the bishop was there, the Bishop of
Parks.
Savannah. And Diane.
Who's also the bishop, and if you're Catholic and you know the diocese.
The Diocese of Savannah includes Augusta. It all gets confusing.
That's why I say we went up the river.
Well, when I went to church in Augusta and saw Bishop Parks on the wall, I was like,
hey,
wait a minute, he's the
doing
Bishop
here?
of Savannah.
Yeah, it's.
Take some adjusting.
So anyway,
but Ed's sister Diane was getting an award, the Macaulay Award, for her service to the Sisters of Mercy, to the Convent of St. Vincent de Paul there. She this year sponsored or organized the nun run to raise money for the convent there to restore it. Because she went to school there.
So super proud of my sister.
It was great. So they had a lot of the alumni from St. Vincent's Academy were there. And they had the 50th anniversary class.
I wish my parents were alive, because I know especially my mom, well, both of them, my mom and dad.
I told her your mom would be so proud.
She would be like super proud. Oh my gosh, you got an award from the bishop.
From the bishop,
yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, that's like something big.
Very cool.
Like really cool.
Yeah.
So,
and I thought
they were there in spirit.
It was really kind of amazing because, if you come to Savannah, a lot of people will come on tour. In fact, there were tourists coming in. They put up signs saying there's, worship in progress, but tourists were coming in as soon as it was done. And
that's one of the premier places that if you're not of the faith, of the Catholic faith, you should still visit the cathedral, as we just call it, the cathedral.
It's a basilica now.
Yes, a basilica. And
but it's so big.
For the architecture, just the murals
and the music.
Yes, and the acoustics are great.
But I was surprised because it's such a huge place that the Mass, there were not that many people there really compared to how many people you can get in there. Right. And we were right down front. It felt really intimate.
It did.
I mean, it wasn't like we didn't have all the music and stuff that you would normally have at a Mass, but it just felt really intimate and personal. And Diane there were just two people getting awards.
Her and I forgot the gentleman's name. He got an award. He goes to, or he's an alumni of
Benedictine Academy, which is St. Vincent's is the girls' high school, and Benedictine is the boys. I guess
philanthropy or whatever.
Right, his long support of St. Vincent's Academy. So congratulations to Diane. Thank you for your service, not just that, but the community, because they listed out all the places all the nonprofits and other work that she's done, including Habitat for Humanity.
It's a long list of things, yeah.
Yeah, so yay, Diane. Yeah. We were glad to be able to come and then jump back on the highway and headed back to Augusta so I could go to work the next day.
Yay.
And I got to work. Was that day that the internet was down?
I think
I don't know how to work without the internet. So it was crazy. So we had so much that we talked about, and we are way longer than we normally are.
Yeah, sorry for this longer episode, but we
put a warning
packed
on it.
So much into
so we're
one weekend.
Skip this week's discussion question because we've talked about so much. This week, though, this coming week, for next week's episode, two things we know we're doing. One, we're going to the first night viewing of Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, we forgot to mention that we also went to a preview screening, so we'll mention that next week.
We did.
So we're going to Guardians of the Galaxy.
We went to the Regal has
Monday midnight mystery movie.
No, it's not
Monday mystery movie.
Monday mystery movie.
Yeah.
And so the last 2 weeks we've seen some.
So we'll talk
two
about
good
that
films
next time.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're also going on Saturday to the James Brown birthday. So James Brown, the godfather of soul, is definitely one of the most famous, if not the most famous people from Augusta. And there's a statue of him downtown. So there's a big party Saturday we're going to go to.
Yeah.
So our challenge to you for this week is who from your community has been famous. Find out who that is. If it's not from your local community, maybe someplace nearby, and learn something about them. Find out, is there a festival or a celebration of them at some point in the year? And tell us about it on our social media. You can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. We're all Splorin with us.
And it never hurts to be a tourist in your own town.
Exactly. So you can enjoy that. Door. You can also catch us on our blog, which is splorinwithus.blogspot.com. On YouTube, we're on the Geek Homeworld channel, which is the home of other podcasts that Ed heads up. And sometimes I appear there as well, but
yes, you do.
It's only very special episodes.
You might appear for this. Maybe we're coming to see this
Guardians
week.
of the Galaxy.
Oh, well, spoiler.
I already said that.
Did you say that? Okay.
Wow. Are y'all listening? Because he's
not.
Was I
here? Was I listening?
Welcome to my world. So, in the meantime, as you go about your lives, remember to find the joy in the journey.
And thank you for exploring with us.